Hello everyone, myself Gayatri. In this video we are going to discuss about the different methods of vermicomposting. Before entering into the topic, we should know what is meant by vermicomposting. Vermicomposting is nothing but it is a process that involves the use of the earthworms and microorganisms which decompose the organic materials and convert them into the valuable nutrient source that is used for the plants. So vermicomposting is also known as the worm farming. Worm here refers to the earthworm. Here are the nutrient profile of the vermicompost. It's 1.6% of nitrogen, 0.7% of phosphorus, 0.8% of potassium, 0.5% of calcium, 0.2% of magnesium, and 175 ppm of iron, 96.5 ppm of manganese, and 24.5 ppm of zinc. So all these nutrients are present in the vermicompost, which helps in improving the soil quality, and it also helps in providing the nutrient for the plant growth. Before we enter into the different methods, first we have the overall view of how the vermicomposting should be done. So first one is site selection. So how the site should be selected for the compost unit or for the culture unit is the area should be shade. So the earthworm loves to live. They are very sensitive to light, so they live in the very shaded area. Then it should be the elevated area. There should be no water logging. So it should have a proper drainage system. So the water cannot be logged in soil. Then high humidity should be maintained. That is 75 to 90% of humidity should be maintained. You should have a cool temperature. Abundant cow or poultry shed which is not in use can be used as a culture unit or compost unit. If it is the outdoor culture, the shaded location should be seen, because as I said, the earthworm is very sensitive to sunlight, so it should be the shaded location. The direct sunlight and rain should be avoided, because if rain comes, the water gets logged in the soil and the earthworms will get suffocate, and they are sensitive to light. So the direct sunlight and rain should be avoided. So we can use some thatched roof to avoid all those conditions. Then wet gunny bags should be used to cover the garbage, that is the organic waste which we are going to compost, should be covered with the wet gunny bags, and it should also be pre-decomposed when we are going to enter it into the vermiculture unit. Then comes the species selection. So species should be the surface dwelling earthworms, because we are going to put the feed on the top. So surface dwelling earthworms is very comfortable when compared to the inner living earthworms. African earthworms, redworms are the most commonly preferred earthworms for the culturing unit and compost unit. Generally, African earthworms generate more vermicompost in a very short time and produces more young ones during composting. So African earthworm is much preferred when compared to the redworms. The species which we are going to select should have a very short lifespan, so that they produce the offsprings in a very short amount of time. They should have a high reproductive rate. More young ones should be produced in one cycle, and they should be phytogeophagous. That means they should also feed on the organic matter. They should also feed on the soil. So that term phytogeophagous refers to they must be feed on plant material and soil. So that is called as the phytogeophagous. And they should have a very high adaptability. It should be adaptive if suppose some kind of sunlight or rain is directly exposed to the unit. They should have the adaptability to overcome those things, and they should have the disease resistance. So here are some species which can be used for the vermiculture and vermicompost. These are the species: Acinia fetida, Euryalus eugeniae, Perionix excavatus, Perionix tantibaricus, Dendroviana veneta, Lampito moriti, Metaphyre howley, Lumbricus dubellus, Lumbricus terrestris, Peritima postma. These are the species which is involved in the vermicomposting. In India, mostly Euryalus eugeniae is used for the composting, because they feed on the they produce the vermicompost on the top layer, because it will be very easy for the harvesting. So we mostly use the Euryalus eugeniae in India. Then vermibeds. How the vermibed should be layered. Here are the few key points that you should know before you're layering the vermibed. At the bottom, coir waste, sugar cane, garbage, sawdust and husk can be layered. And vermibed or worm bed should have the 3 centimeter layer of the coarse sand should have the 3 centimeter, loamy soil should have the 3 centimeter. What are the bedding materials? Shredded cardboard, paddy husk, coconut husk, grass clippings, papers and boards, hay, straw, crushed eggshells. These can be used as the bedding material when we layer the vermibed. So here are the illustrations. So you can see at last we are using the broken bricks or pebbles for 4 to 6 centimeter. Then we are going to layer the coarse sand layer. Then we are going to layer the loamy soil. Then we are going to inoculate the earthworms. Then above the earthworms we should layer the cow dung for nearly 15 centimeters. And after the cow dung, the organic wastes which you are going to get as the compost should be bedded, and above that the net should be placed to close the bedding materials. Then, what are the containers can be used for vermicomposting is plastic basins, cement tubs, plastic buckets, wooden boxes, well rings, cardboard box. These can be used as watering the beds. The culture unit doesn't require the daily watering, but 75 to 90% of water should be maintained. The water should be sprayed and not poured. Before harvesting, the watering should be stopped because the earthworms, this allows the earthworms to move downwards, so there will be the easy harvesting of the compost. Feedstock. The feedstock should be pre-decomposed for 15 days. The earthworms loves to eat, so they eat 12 times their body weight. Manure which we are going to use in the vermibed material may be the cow dung or pig dung. Organic matter, coconut husk and vegetable matters is also used in the vermibed material. Last comes the harvesting. The material should be black and grainy. We can predict that the compost is ready to harvest, and the material should be completely disintegrated. As the compost matures, watering should be reduced, which I said it earlier. So compost can be separated and isolated, and it is used after the 2 days. Bright light source is mostly used because the earthworms is sensitive to light. They move towards the bottom and the upper layer can be easily harvested. So bright light resource is used. Here comes our main topic, different methods of vermicomposting. We saw about the overall how to culture, what are the species should be selected, how the site should be selected, and now we are going to see what are the different methods that is used in vermicomposting. First one, the vermicomposting methods can be broadly classified into 2 types, batch system and continuous flow system. In batch system, the bed materials are added only one time. I have mentioned about the bed materials, how the bedding should be maintained in the previous slides. So this bed material is added only one time, and vermicomposting is done in a very limited volume of organic wastes. It includes the following 5 types: windrow method, top pit method, wet system, bed method and stacked bins method. We are going to see one by one in the upcoming slides. Before that, we are going to look into the continuous flow system. Here, the bed and the feed materials are added continuously to the top and at the regular intervals. So the vermicomposting is harvested from the bottom continuously at regular intervals. Bed materials are continuously added at the top, and vermicompost is continuously harvested at the bottom. So it is called as the continuous flow system. It is an automated system. It is also called as the flow through system. The term flow through refers the material go in the top, flow through the reactor, and the worm gets collected out of the bottom. So the worm remains undisturbed in the middle. So it is called as the flow through system. What are the types of continuous flow system? Or here are the 8 types: pit method, heap method, bin or tray method, windrow composting, wet system, stacked bins method, vermi-reactor system and bed method. These are the 8 types of the continuous flow system. First, we are going to see about the pit method. Here, the rearing of earthworms is done in a pit which contains the organic wastes to make the compost. That pit should be in the ratio of 3:3:2. 3 is the length, First 3 is the length, second 3 is the width, and 2 here refers to the height of the pit. Cow dung or horse dung can also be used, and the upper surface of the pit is covered with the gunny bags or coconut leaves. So it provides the shade for the pit. Then PVC pipe is fixed at the bottom to collect the worming wash. When the pit is made in the soil, the PVC pipe fixation and collection of the worming wash is very tough. But when we construct the cement pit, it is easy to fix the PVC pipe and collect the worming wash. Compost is ready within 45 to 60 days. Due to inadequate aeration, waterlogging at the bottom, and higher production cost, this method is not recommended because when it rains, the water get clogged at the bottom. So this method can be avoided when compared to the other method. The second method is heap method. The piles of organic waste is dumped on the ground and they are made into the compost by the use of the earthworms. It comes under the batch method, that is the feedstock is inoculated only one time. Rectangular wooden works or brick structures can also be used in the heap method by outlining the heap with the brick. And the size of the heap should be 10:1:0.6 meter. 10 would be the length, 1 would be the width, and 0.6 would be the height of the heap. Organic material are dumped inside the containers, that is wooden container or it may be the plastic container. It should be dumped in a serial manner, and the heap method, the heap should be in the form of dome. Here are the other few points of the heap method. Small pieces are introduced into the bedding material for the faster decomposition. The temperature of the piles should be maintained around 25 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius because the earthworms doesn't love to live in the very hot temperature, and the pH should be maintained around 6.5 to 7, probably neutral, and about 3 tons of vermicompost can be harvested in the 2 months, that is 60 days, from 10 such heaps. Third one comes here, bin or tray method. Here the organic waste is converted into the compost in a tray or bin. It comes under the batch system, that is the feedstock is inoculated only one time. It requires a bin, proper bedding material, food waste and worms. The tray which we are going to use may be the wooden box, or it can be the plastic basin, or it can also be a metal tub, but metal tub is slightly avoided when compared to the wooden box and plastic basin. The bin should be shallow, it should not deep more than 18 inches, and it should have a very good air circulation. Bricks or wooden blocks can be kept at the bottom of the bin, which prevent the entry of the predators that is very dangerous for the earthworm. So bricks or wooden blocks should be kept at the bottom of the bin. As we know, the bed should be kept in a very cool and shady place. The bin size should be 2:2 inch, that is length into width ratio. It can hold up to the 1 pound of the earthworms. This 1 pound, that is 1000 earthworm, can feed off 4 pounds of food scraps within a week. See how the earthworms are a voracious feeder, right? So the worm bin or worm tray is actually divided into the 4 sections. This is called as the section method. Here at first section, the food scraps are added and the earthworms will feed on that particular food scraps in the first section. After 4 to 5 days, in the second section, the food or a feed is added. Now the earthworms will move to the second section and have a feed on that particular food. On subsequent weeks, on the food scraps are added at the subsequent section. So this helps in the movement of the earthworm throughout the bed material, and it is very helpful in the bin and tray method. Here comes the fourth method, windrow vermicomposting. In windrow vermicomposting, the organic material are heaped in rows in the open ground. It consists of a very long rows of wormy beds which are laid on the surface of the clay soil. There are other 2 sub-methods in windrow vermicomposting, which is a static pile method and top-fed method. In static pile method, the bed material and feedstock are mixed together and then the earthworms are inoculated. It is a one-time feeding method. We know that one-time feeding method it comes under the batch system. And the second one is the top-fed method. Here the bed is prepared and then the worms are inoculated. The bedding material is very proper in the top fed method. It comes under the continuous flow system. That is, the feedstock is added at the top continuously and the compost is harvested at the bottom regularly. So it comes under the continuous flow system. And windrow size should be 50:3:1. That is, 50 is the length of the row and 3 is the width of the row and 1 is the height of the each row. The wormy beds here are made side by side with a gap, that is 1 meter between the two heaps. That is, 1 meter is the gap that should be maintained between the two rows. Okay, there must be the water channel to remove the excess water to prevent the water clogging. This windrow vermicomposting is used for the large scale harvesting, so it is of the commercial purpose. The fifth one is the wedge system. It is a modified form of the windrow method. We can see that in detail. Here the arrangement of the rows of the wormy bed will be in the form of the V shape. You can see that in the picture which I have given on your right side, and it comes under the batch system. That is, only single time the feedstock is inoculated and it is mostly constructed in the outdoors. For every 10 feet 1 kg of the earthworms is inoculated in this system, and the bed material will be made in the form of the 45 degree. You can see that in the next slide. See here, 45 degree angle is maintained for every row between the first row and second row, that is a 45 degree angle, and between the second row and third row, that is a 45 degree gap. So there are several rows of the bed, and here the worms from the first row automatically migrate into the second row and then it start composting, which results in the form of the vermicompost. Like this, the subsequent rows are laid at an angle of the 45 degree from the previous rows, and the worms will move from the first bed to the next through the point of the contact. And after a gap of 60 days, the first windrow can be harvested, and this is called as the wedge method. The sixth one is the stacked bin method. The stacked bin consists of a frame with a set of the bins which is stacked one above the other. It was first devised by the scientist named George. It comes under both batch and continuous flow method. It is mostly of indoor and outdoor is not much seen. The bin which we are going to use should be in the form of the square, and it should be in the ratio 4:1, that is 4 feet length and 1 feet height. The cattle dung and cardboard are mostly used in the stacked bin method, which should be inoculated in the ratio of 1:2, that is cattle dung of ratio 1 and cardboard of ratio 2, and 2.27 kg of earthworms are inoculated into the each bin. That means there are several bins. In one bin, 2.27 kg of earthworms are inoculated. For this stacked bin method, the containers which are of no use, which are discarded, can be used, which is tubs, barrels, washing machine tubs which are not in use, wooden boxes, plastic boxes, mortar trays which are not in use can be used for the stacked bin method. Here the moist bedding material is laid at the bottom and then the worms are inoculated, and at the top the feedstock is applied. Here comes the illustration of the stacked bin method. There is a cover and there is a holes for the proper aeration and the proper bedding material in each bin, and you can also observe the bricks at the bottom. It prevents the entry of the predators, and it also very helpful in the drainage of the water. The seventh method is the vermi-reactor system. It is nothing but it is just a vessel that is used for the vermicomposting. It consists of number of chambers with a single stand. They are also called as the biological reactors, which is designed for the earthworms to feed, to live, to breed, and to provide us the compost. It provides a proper aeration. It provides a proper temperature of about 25 degree to 30 degrees Celsius. It also provides the earthworms protection against the predators and insects. It comes under the continuous flow system because there is a simultaneous addition of the organic wastes at the top, and there is the harvesting of the vermicast at the bottom. So it comes under the continuous flow system. Can observe the image here. It has a net cover and it has a sludge disposal tank and the proper layers, proper bedding material. That is, you can see the sawdust layer, sand layer, vermicompost layer, and in close you can note the aeration pipe which is present there, which provides the proper aerations for the earthworms to survive. The eighth and final method is called as the bed method. It is done in a walled enclosure which is rectangular in shape and of the size 3:3:2. It is mostly done on the pucca or kacha floor. When compared to the all other methods, it is a very easy method to maintain and to practice. So this is all about the different methods of vermicomposting. We saw about the vermicompost and overall the vermicompost, how the site should be selected, how the spaces should be selected, how the bedding material should be layered, about watering, how the humidity and temperature should be maintained, and how the harvesting is done. Then we moved into our topic, specifically different methods of the vermicomposting. We saw about the batch method and continuous flow method. Under that, all these 8 methods we saw. I hope you understood the concept of this vermicomposting. Thank you all and have a very nice day.